Now, once the quality objectives have been established, it's time to identify your quality risks. So quality risks are those that have both a reasonable possibility of occurring and individually or in combination with other risks adversely affect the achievement of one or more of those quality objectives. So to identify these risks, you're going to want to consider the nature and circumstances of your firm, as well as the types of engagements that you perform. This risk assessment allows for the scalability of the standard. For those firms with more complex situations, you're usually going to have more quality risks, and as we will see in another video, all of those quality risks are going to require a response. So some potential risks have been identified for you for each of those components. Now, you may have additional risks, and you also may not have any of these risks at all. So let's go through and show you how to edit a risk and assess those risks. So down here, you will have those sample risks. To edit a risk or assess a risk, you're going to press the little blue button that if you hover it, it says update. Now here is where you can either change this risk or you can add some additional comments. And how I would go about this is where you are going to assess the severity of that risk to achieving those quality objectives. And we use a scale here of low, moderate, or high. And when I'm going through it, I am thinking about what is the likelihood given the way that your firm is set up, not necessarily what you've already put in place to control that risk, but by thinking about it just from the nature and circumstances of your firm's perspective. So if you already have controls in place, if you already are doing policies and procedures, that likely means that you have a higher quality risk. But this is going to help us identify that maybe there are some additional risks that you might have not necessarily have thought about before. So you can use this comment box here to document what it is about your firm that specifically does relate to this risk. You could use this comment box as well to help justify whether, what your assessment is. So maybe, inspection findings are not addressed on a timely basis is the risk here. But when I think about my firm, I'm a sole proprietor. I have not had very many practice inspection deficiencies in the past. This is probably a very low risk or maybe even a not applicable risk for me. So I can use the comment box to describe that. And then I would say here either, not applicable or low. If I say low, it will end up in our risk report, and we'll show you those in the overview section in the reporting. If you select it as not applicable, it's not going to go anywhere. So you can go ahead and save that. And then you will see here the risk condition and the assessment. If I use the little plus button to open that up, I will be able to see those comments. Now, you may want to create a new risk, and you can do that by coming up here to the Create button. And that's going to open the same screen that we just saw, but now it allows you to go through and just put in your own risk. So for example, I'm just going to say new risk to the firm, optional comments, so you can see what they're going through here. I'm going to select it as active. If it's not active, it is not going to bring it through again to those reports. It's not going to consider it a risk. And then how likely is it? Let's just select this one as, we'll just select this one as high for now, just to show you the difference. So what you're going to want to do then, and you just see here, it comes to the bottom. I can always go back in and edit it by clicking on the blue button. And I want to say here, edit. You're going to be able to see that, those changes here. So what you're going to want to do at this point is go through all of those risks and make sure they're all assessed for all 6 components. There's another way to make your risk not applicable. So we talked about going into that little blue button here, and we can always select this as not applicable if that really is not a quality risk in your firm. I can also use the delete button, and if I'll just show you this one, if I select delete, it says it can't be undone, but it actually can, and I'm just going to show you how. Remember when we created a new risk, we had to set it to active. These are showing all of my active quality risks. I can change them to active no. And you can see I've kind of played with this demo file a little bit, but this is where if I delete it, it is going to show up, and I can always edit and say make it active, and that's going to put it back into my quality risks. So just another way for you to get through this and edit those quality risks. If they have been deleted or they're not applicable, they're considered inactive, and any inactive risks will not show up on your subsequent risk report.